Coming up on Michigan Replay, the Wolverines bounce back and bounce Utah. We'll have the highlights. We'll also preview the upcoming race for the Big Ten crown, who's up and who's not. And we'll look ahead and scout Illinois as Michigan opens the conference run on the road. All that and more coming up next. Michigan Replay with Lloyd Carr is brought to you in part by Abso Pure Water, delivering quality bottled water since 1908, and by Nike. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Replay. The Wolverines beat Utah 10-7 in a very tight game on Saturday at Michigan Stadium, and I guess this is one of those that qualifies. A win is a win is a win is a win.
Well, if you like defense, Jim, you loved what you saw. It is a good win because we played a tremendous non-conference schedule, and coming off an unbelievably emotional game down in South Bend, there was not a lot of motion on that field from either team. I think Utah had lost a heartbreaker the week before, but it was a hard-hitting football game.
And the thing that maybe, if you look at the game, was a game of missed opportunities for the offense of Michigan, or it could have been a bigger win score-wise.
Well, Jim, we had opportunities to really take control of the football game very early and didn't take advantage of them. And of course, when you let a team hang around and you miss a lot of opportunities, then inevitably you end up with a dogfight, and that's exactly what we had.
Well, you get a good play here from Julius Curry. You get the turnover and you get great field position.
Julius Curry played his best game at Michigan, Jim. Came up with 2 interceptions, was aggressive, did a tremendous job on punt return.
How about this play, a little razzle-dazzle?
Well, it worked to perfection. Jim Bacher, our special teams coach, had seen something in the defense. We worked that play, and to make it successful and get the ball first and goal on the 2. And this is just something that we cannot do. We're too far away from the goal line to be jumping anyway, and so there's a tremendously big missed opportunity.
Another guy that played a wonderful game was Zia Combs.
Zia is one of those guys, Jim, that plays with great emotion, and he's tough, and he had a very, very good game.
Here's a great adjustment to the ball by Braylon Edwards on a big play.
Well, they're in single coverage there, and we got the ball deep. There was a point in this game where they stopped playing man coverage because of the play that I think they were afraid of Braylon, and then John made a good throw. Braylon ran a good route here, and John made a great decision going to his second receiver there, Jim.
Okay, and it's 7-0 at this point, and the defense continues to play tough. Victor Hobson blows up the fullback.
I thought Victor Hobson was outstanding in this football game. You felt his presence right from the very first play. Here he picks the tackle, and Shante Orr comes in for a big sack.
Okay, then you get the ball back. You start to move it again, and oh, no, here we go with another defensive play by Jeremy Lesueur.
Well, following the sack, Jim, we're in man-to-man coverage, and the one thing that we liked is the fact that there was not a lot of yardage gained after catches in this game.
And here's a nice pass again to Braylon Edwards, and you start driving the football. And the other thing is you start moving it on the ground, Will.
Well, Jim, against an overcommitted defense, we still were able to run the football effectively. 175 yards rushing against the third best rushing defense in the country, I thought was an outstanding effort.
And here Brackens gets the call, does a nice job, good blocking at the point of attack.
You got to be careful spinning. We got to stop spinning. That's when fumbles occur. But Timmy Brackens made a very nice run there, and we stall, and Philip Brabs knocks through a field goal from the right hash.
And it's a 10-0 lead at this point, and you know things are looking great. It's late in the first half.
Well, Jim, our defense here again is a great play by Zia Combs. The little dump to the back, and Z gets off the block and makes the play for no gain.
And you get the ball back, and John makes a great decision here to run against man coverage in the secondary.
Well, Jim, Scott Loeffler has spent a lot of time with John working on his movement in the pocket of looking down the field and making a good decision about whether to throw the ball over or whether to run with it. And that play here where We get a bad snap out of the shotgun, cost us another opportunity to get. We were in field goal position and came away with nothing.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, the missed opportunities. Maybe, what, 6 points, 10 points get away first half in this game?
Absolutely. And you know, that's the difference between a game where you take control, you get an opportunity to do some things, play some other people, and instead we end up with a dogfight.
All right. When we come back, we'll take a look at the second half highlights. It gets a little tighter later on, but Michigan still prevails. But before we do that, we're going to hear from Larry Stevens, who said the defense really stood tall when it had to.
Great defensive effort. It's a good way for us to come together in the fourth quarter, even though we shouldn't have scored on that, but we came together when we counted on the last play and did it as a team.
Now, the Les Stanford Chevrolet locker room report.
We came in to the halftime. We knew we had to run the ball, run the clock out. We didn't do that in the first half, so we just set our minds. This is what we're going to do in the second half.
Well, the Wolverines did a nice job in the second half, numbers-wise. Statistically outstanding in the second half. You put a lot of yards on the board, but no points.
Jim, that's the shame. I mean, we had opportunities in the red zone, and we could not score a touchdown. And some of that goes, the credit goes to Utah, but we certainly have to be a more productive football team in the red zone. Okay,
going into the second half highlights, one of the things is the defense continued to be dominant in that third quarter.
Well, we had tremendous breaks on the football. Here, Marlon Jackson, a good coverage, a good play by Zach Kaufman. We had people around the football all day long, Jim, and I think one of the reasons is that we had a lot of, we didn't let them run the football on us at all.
There's a good read by John and slips it in on a third down to Braylon, who got in a little hole in their zone. And then Chris Perry, John goes to work here again, does a great job coming off his primary guy.
Well, Jim, he did that several times in this game, and you're right, that was one of them. He was looking right, came back on the weak side, moved in the pocket, and threw a strike to Tyrese Butler.
And after the fumble, Chris Perry didn't play the rest of the first half, but here in the second half, he starts to run hard.
Yes, he did, and we against an overcommitted defense, we still were able to run the football, and here's just an absolutely incredible 4-yard gain. I mean, BJ runs 30 yards to gain 4. Just a great individual effort.
7 tackles,
yes,
too.
Yes, it was, and BJ's having an outstanding year.
And here, you set up for the field goal, go over the pooch kick, just the bounce of the football.
Well, if we get a guy down there a little bit faster, but Phillip made a good kick there.
And that's a good decision, playing field position, the way your defense is. That's a good, I think, strategic decision.
Well, I agree with you because, when you can back them up down and make them go 90, 95 yards, you got a great chance to get them stopped.
All right, defense continues to play hard, and we move into the fourth quarter now. And here is Chris Perry again.
Well, Chris, again, is running with authority. Chris Perry's an outstanding football player, Jim. We got to get him settled down because he runs hard, he punishes tacklers, and he wears on you by the end of the game.
He got 81 of his 91 yards on the day, all in the second half. So, I mean, he had something to prove that.
Well, and I think you got to credit our offensive line. Those guys did a great job, particularly as the game went on.
And again, missed opportunity. Phil Brabs pulls a field goal attempt wide left. And those are the kinds of things that are...
Well, those are the kind of plays that when you miss them, Utah, you allow them to stay in their game plan because they don't have to throw the football every down. And here, one of the view plays, we take hard play action, get sucked in, and they hit the back out behind the linebacker. And then they come back on 3rd and 15, and we didn't get a good jam on the receiver. And Utah now is moving and down in great field position.
And then again, another big play of defense gets Utah back in it.
Well, we go to man coverage, and they lined up with slot receiver to the left here, and our defender gets picked off, and consequently, guy ends up wide open for the touchdown.
Yep. And now it's a tight one, and it's late, and you guys have to put a good drive to hold on to the ball, and this is just a great throwing play.
Well, John made a great throw there, made a great decision on which side of the field to go to, and the thing that set this up, Jim, was an excellent a kickoff return by Jeremy LeSueur, and then I thought this was an excellent call by Terry. Had great effort downfield blocking, and we established some field position here and used some of the clock.
And this is another solid throw, nice read by Navarre, and you get a first down in there. You force Utah to use all their timeouts also.
Well, Jim, that again was that was his third receiver there on that route, and we forced Utah to use 2 of their timeouts. And here we get an opportunity to make it a touchdown. They need a touchdown to win, and we miss, and so now we got to protect the 3-point lead.
But the defense does a great job here. Good coverage by Marlon Jackson. And then Curry comes up, Julius, with the interception that closes out 10-7 win.
Well, it was one of those that went right down to the wire, and, you know, it seems like that's the way football's played anymore.
The question lots of people are asking right now, obviously, the kicking game, particularly the placement duties. Bravs, Nienberg, and you talked to me after the game, said, well, maybe Adam Finley might get a shot.
Well, Adam Finley has worked some the last 2 weeks in practice. He hasn't worked much. He didn't work any in spring practice to speak of, not much this summer because he concentrated on punting, and he is doing a tremendous job. But we've got to do something, because when you miss those opportunities, Jim, they're going to come back to haunt you in a game that you lose because you can't make a field goal. So we've got to, and Phillip has been excellent in practice, and kicked a great one today that was the winning points, but you'd like to have a little bit better lead there.
Yeah, you would. The other question, a lot of people, I walk through the parking lot, people talk to me about this and about that, and they talk to me about the play calling and the offense, and they're worried about it. And I say, you know, look at the yardage. Look at the yardage. Don't, you know, if they'd converted on their chances, it's 27 points and nobody complains about it.
Jim, against an outstanding defense, we ran a football for 175 yards. That's very, very impressive in my judgment against an overloaded defense. It tells me that we can block people, we run hard, and we dropped some passes today that would have given us a lot better opportunity to continue to possess the football. But when you drop the football, and then we missed a couple of passes, so I think the execution has to improve, and it will.
And the last thing about that game is there, again, a couple of big plays against your defense happened against Notre Dame. You shut them down more this week, but that's one thing I know that you're still concerned with?
Well, you're concerned with it, and yet, you know, the way football's played today, you're vulnerable because you have to overload to stop the running game, and that's something that you take a chance because the play-action pass is really the play that set everything up today.
As it turns out, it's a 10-7 win, and as we said at the top of the show, a W is a W is a W. When we come back, we'll look ahead to what's up in the Big Ten as Michigan gets ready for the Big Ten season. But first, we hear from Zia Combs talking about defense. It's just an attitude.
We wanted to come out and dominate, and that's what we did for the majority of the game. And a big play happened, and, you know, we just had to go on with the next play.
Now, the Les Stanford Chevrolet locker room report.
Oh, heading into the Big Ten season, we've made the mistakes we, possibly could have made. We know the things that we got to get corrected. Everybody's excited. The chemistry is still there. We might have well lost one, but everybody's still in it together, still working for the same goal.
Well, the Big Ten season is upon us. The preseason non-conference schedule is over, and the Big Ten is, as you say, Lloyd, the real season now starts.
The real season. The opener is here, Jim.
The opener is here, and you will open against Illinois, but we're going to take a look at the Big Ten. The teams that have been in the top 25 nationally since the beginning of the year. And of course, Ohio State looks like a pretty darn good team with this freshman running back, Maurice Claret.
Well, Jim, everybody that's seen him says he's the real deal. He's a big guy, could get great speed. And of course, he missed the game against Cincinnati on Saturday. But he is a great football player, and Doss is an All-American candidate. Their defense is almost entirely back, particularly the front four that I think is as good as anybody in the country.
And Penn State's Jimmy Kennedy, a great defensive lineman.
He's a first-round draft choice. He is a dominating football player.
And their young quarterback, Zach Mills, has really come along.
Jim, this kid is going to be one of the fine quarterbacks to play in the Big Ten in recent years.
Another team that's had a great start is Wisconsin, and one of the guys that makes them good, even though he hasn't played recently, he'll be ready for the Big Ten schedule, is Lee Evans.
Lee Evans will be the first receiver drafted, I think, and if he isn't, he'll be one of the top 2 or 3 coming off surgery. And he's coming back, and he's a real force.
And this guy is scary.
He's a great back. Anthony Davis is a great back, a great football player, tough, great speed, can make the big plays. There's nothing he can't do.
And Michigan State, even though they lose to Notre Dame and are 2-2 on the year, offensively they got some talent. Smoker, their quarterback, obviously a veteran guy's been around, but maybe again a great receiver in Charles Rogers, as good as Evans at Wisconsin.
There's no question that he's as good as there is, and you know, when you have that kind of talent, you're going to be there in the end.
And those are just the 4 teams that are, you know, the top 25 teams, along with the University of Michigan, obviously. But there are a lot of landmines in the Big Ten as you go through.
Well, Jim, Minnesota's a very, very much improved football team. Iowa is an outstanding football team in my mind. They're rugged, they're physical, and they beat you up.
And one of the things about the Big Ten, the quirkiness of the schedule, 11 teams, you only play you don't play 2 teams on the Big Ten. It's not a round robin. And as you look at who plays whom, or rather who does not play whom, it looks like you're not getting much of a break, but Ohio State, Penn State, and Illinois probably of the 3 schools, maybe Michigan State also.
Well, there's no
gets
question.
The best schedule break.
There's no question, and it changes year in and year out because every 2 years you change the teams you don't play. But Jim, when you look at this schedule, it's obvious that to determine a Big Ten champion, we need, if they're going to play a 12th game, it should be a conference game so that we can have a better way of selecting the Big Ten champion.
Right, and Illinois not playing Iowa and Michigan State, that's a big break for them, and they're defending Big Ten champs.
Well, you know, there are going to be years where the schedule will favor us. You know, I think
when's that going to happen?
Well, it's going to happen at some point.
I hope so. Well, it hasn't happened recently.
It didn't happen this year.
No,
that's for
it sure
sure.
didn't. When we come back, we will take a little closer look at those Fighting Illini. But first, we hear from Julius Curry saying, you know, the season now begins, the real season. It's Big Ten time.
It's time to get down and dirty. You know, it's like we got 8 more games. And we got to go out there and we got to win. And we can't give up the big plays like we did in the first 4 games. And we're trying to do big things this year, and hopefully we achieve our goal.
Now, the Les Stanford Chevrolet Locker Room Report.
We go to a Illinois team, a good Illinois team on the road. I mean, we just got to come back tomorrow, watch this film, be prepared next week, and execute the game plan next Saturday.
Well, the Fighting Illini have struggled a little bit in the early go, but in the Big Ten season, they're going to be a different animal. And the reason I say that, Lloyd, is because they're defending Big Ten champion.
Jim, Illinois lost 2 very, very difficult road games. They lost to Illinois, or to Missouri, and then they had to go down in the heat to Southern Mississippi, who is an outstanding football team. And so they have struggled out the gate, but they're a very talented football team. The best football players on their team a year ago are back.
Yeah, and the quarterback, the big guy they lost was Kurt Kittner, so Butcher is their quarterback.
He's a transfer from Iowa, a big guy, 6'5", 210 pounds, a very, very good arm, a very, very good athlete, and he's going to get better as he goes.
And their kind of an offense that Coach Ron Turner has, it's a quarterback-friendly offense.
There's no question. It's a pro-style, good play action, a lot of the routes in the West Coast offense, a guy that mixes in the run. Jim, Illinois is considered a passing team, but they run the football very, very effectively, and Antonio Harris, back starting for a second year, is a very, very good football player.
And the guy that can make plays everywhere is this Brandon Lloyd.
Well, Brandon Lloyd, you mentioned Chuck Rogers and Lee Evans from Wisconsin. Those guys will all be drafted in the first round. They're all outstanding football players.
Defensively, they're led up front by Derek Strong, good tough defensive end, and their top linebacker has family ties at Michigan. Jerry Schumacher's dad played here at Michigan.
Well, he's a great football player. He's their leading tackler. I think this will be his third year. He'll end up being their leading tackler. Excellent football player. And this kid, Eugene Wilson, Jim, is everybody from every indication will be a first-round draft choice. A guy that's got great speed, great coverage ability.
And it's a test on the road because you said to me after the game, you talked about it, says, hey, we got to go on the road, and we haven't played as well as I'd like on the road, so we got to prove we can. Well,
we were tentative. We did not get a good start last week in South Bend in that first half. And so we've been on the road, and there's no reason why we can't go in and understand what it takes to win on the road.
From a coaching standpoint, how do you get that across to the kids during the week?
Well, I think the most important thing was that they've been there before. They've learned what it's like to play in a hostile environment, and Champaign is always and always will be a hostile environment for Michigan. And so we better be ready for the crowd. And we need to go in and put our best game together. That's what we need to do on all sides of the ball.
Hopefully it'll happen against the Fighting Illini on the road, and we want to make sure you join us and find out if the Wolverines did put their best game together, because we're coming back your way with it right here on Michigan Replay, same time next week. So join us then on Michigan Replay. Michigan Replay with Lloyd Carr is brought to you in part by The Joy of Pepsi and by Big Boy Restaurants, home of the original Big Boy Double-Decker Hamburger.